No, I'll never do this again, like ever. There's no reason for me to ever do this again. There were so many times on the road where I was like, why are you doing this? Like, you know, I don't need any help getting hurt, you know, like I get hurt enough skating, like I'm like breaking bones, like riding motorcycles in Vietnam. Like, sometimes I would just get really mad about it. Like, what am I doing?
This trip was set up by Patrik Wallner and myself, who had been emailing back and forth for a while about different tour ideas and really kind of trying to step it up a notch compared to like what we had already done. I found a photo online of these motorbikes on a boat in some lake, and it was one of the sickest photos to me. And I emailed it to Patrik and I was like, I want to do this. And he said, oh, well, we could do that in Vietnam. So basically that's how it started. And we agreed to co-produce the trip. So he kind of put together half the crew and I put together the other half of the crew. The crew we came up with was Joey Pepper from New York, Keegan Sauder from Vancouver,
Javier Mendizibal from the Basque Country,
John Mehring from New York,
Jerry Hsu from San Jose,
Michael Mackrodt from Germany,
and Patrik Wallner, originally from Hungary.
But the idea was to ride north to south and skate anything we could find in between.
Jonathan was really set on all of us riding this Russian-made Minsks, which is it's a Soviet-era two-stroke dirt bike, and sounds really awesome. As soon as I saw them and then rode one, I was pretty much over it.
They were sketchy, and especially for like to drive all across the country for this long, and people start to like, okay, I'm gonna get a different motorbike, you know, like more like a new motorbike that is more like safe.
It's not looking good.
We're trying to get bikes for everybody, but it's not so easy. The motorbikes are not in the best condition. I'm not the best driver ever. I'm a little bit scared, I have to say.
This thing's been sucking up dust since '72. Clean as a whistle. Wish I was a tree coming. Look out.
I wasn't an experienced rider, so I didn't want to, you know, deal with the super crazy Russian piece of shit, you know? I wanted something reliable because I'm unreliable on the bike, so I needed something better.
I went to go try to find a beer, but I found this.
Once I heard Keegan say that he wasn't going to get one, I was like, I'm not going to get one either. I kind of, you know, followed him because, you know, he's used to riding motorcycles. He knows about motorcycles.
In the end, we had limited time, so we ended up like all just scrambling to get bikes from this one dude, and he really only had one Minsk. John, he got the Minsk. The rest of us ended up with a random other assortment of Hanoi's finest.
We spent like 3 days in Hanoi getting the motorbikes, getting ready, and then yeah, the night before we were leaving, we have like a meeting.
If you're in front and you know you gotta make a turn, when you make the turn, stop. Yeah. And wait for everyone to get to
at the light as well.
Yeah, and at the lights, like always.
We sat down, mapped it out, everyone had an idea of what we were gonna do.
We ended up waking up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, packed our shit together.
I didn't bring anything on this trip. I like bought like riding gloves, you know, just like things that I knew that I would need on the bike.
One thing I did come prepared with are these bad boys. These will really help, because our hands will get cold. These clowns didn't bring them, but I did.
That's my GPS.
We really weren't that prepared because we just didn't understand, especially the weather. Like, we didn't understand that it was gonna rain for like 4 days on the road. So not that much preparation happened. It was just like, just go, pretty much.
First day, I remember we rode for a couple hours and it was pretty cold, and but We hadn't put our rain gear on yet. And I remember we stopped at this gas station and it was like starting to sprinkle a little bit. Me and Jerry were putting on our rain pants just because I was starting to get pretty cold. And Javi looks at me and he's like, "What are you putting your rain pants on?" He's like, "It's not even raining, it's barely raining."
It's just water. We were driving for like, I think it was like 4 days in the rain. It was like insane. So we have to improvise and start getting plastic bags and gloves and show up with a plastic bag, and then he was like, "Whoa, plastic bags!" And he was like, Mike is like a plastic bag man. It's just like everything, different colors. It's just like a condom, pretty much, on a motorbike.
You have wet feet within 5 minutes. We developed all sort of funny techniques to protect against the cold. Doing push-ups once we stopped, and I don't know, running around the gas stations when we had to fill up the gas.
I thought it would be like summer all the time.
This is why you see people on motorcycles wearing like long sleeve shit in the summertime.
Not even that bad.
No, this is why no one came on this trip.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking. I pictured more, I thought we'd be riding in shorts and a t-shirt. So I was basically wearing everything that I owned.
We finally got on track, headed a little bit too far west, almost into Laos.
Are you serious?
No, it wasn't that far, but we went a little further and made a little loop. Now we're headed south and we're making good time. We're soaked, we're cold, and it's pissing rain.
On my bike, like shaking, like wobbling, speed wobbles from cold shakes.
Sometimes we would stop at a restaurant to eat, or like not really a restaurant, just like a tarp over some tables. But they would have like warm coals, and we would just like try to like, you know, keep our hands and feet warm, like anything. Like it was like pretty miserable, but it was still really awesome. I mean, it was just hard. It was way harder than I thought it would be.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you.
We're just like riding and riding and riding, and it ends up being like 3 days before we can get to like a city, like a place that's like our first real destination. We're supposed to get there in 2 days. It took us 3 days, and we're just riding like 12 hours a day.
The sun came out and it was warm, and we were able to dry our shoes and pants and everything, and it was just like such a relief. It was unbelievable. We like unloaded all our gear, cruised around with lightweight bikes, with skateboards, and found a couple spots right off the bat.
Crazy to find skate spots because I had kind of like forgotten that I was on a skate trip.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around, get around, round, round, I get around. I'm getting bugged driving up and down the same old strip. I gotta find a new place where the kids are hip. My buddies and me, you're getting real well known. Yeah, the bad guys know us and they leave us alone. I get around, round, 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 I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around. I get around, get around, round, round. We always take my car, 'cause it's never been beat, and we've never missed yet with the girls we meet. None of the guys go steady, 'cause it wouldn't be right to leave the best girl home on a Saturday night. I get around, round, 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 I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around.
We are driving from up north to the south through all these cities and towns, but we don't really have contacts or directions for spots. So yeah, it's like the main mission is to go all the way to Ho Chi Minh City, but we gotta, trying to find spots and skate too.
There's like a schedule to meet on the trip, so we would be jamming on the roads, and sometimes we would stop to skate. Like this one day we stopped, and there was we saw this giant sign that like into a city or something, and it was just all wet. It was crazy, but Javi decided to skate it.
Kind of a mission, but at the same time there is not many spots, so it's like when you find a spot you have to make it happen.
Plastic bags and the shoes. First try.
Let's try.
Okay, last one. Let's do it. One more. The last one.
I'm gonna go long one.
Intense.
That was crazy.
Everything is wet, man.
Dude, that was insane.
Into the craziest highway ever.
Being on the A1 is basically like the main freeway that joins the north and the south.
It goes the entire length of the country along the coast. And on a map, it looks really nice.
It's pretty much what all like the trucks and like the tourist buses and the vans and like pretty much what everyone takes to get from point A to point B. And it's just like a death race. It's crazy. This time of year on the roads, it's called the killing season. And it's called that because everyone's like partying for Tet and they're drunk. And it kind of explained a lot. It's explained a lot of behavior that I saw on the road. People were so insane. They would just like cut left, cut right, do this, like doing the most insane moves on the road. Like everyone was thinking about it, but no one really said it at the beginning of the trip. It was like, people are gonna go down on these roads. And of course, I was like the first one. I was going, it was on the A1, it was wet, and we were going really fast, and this guy on a bike just slowed down and just broke left right in front of me. And so I just slammed on the brakes, and my bike went out of control, and I went down and I was sliding on my left side. My bike just went like forward and ricocheted off his bike, and then I just slammed into his back tire, and I stood up, and I guess I felt okay.
I don't know, I don't feel like anything's wrong.
At that point, there were just like, a crowd of people, like everyone came out to see what had happened. And I was just surrounded by Vietnamese people.
Did they want money?
Everyone's just like speaking Vietnamese. I don't know what's going on. And my bike is gone. I have no idea where it is. And I see these two guys pulling my bike out of a ditch. The shifter on the left side was just totally bent, wouldn't move. And then these guys just came out with tools out of nowhere and just, put it on the kickstand and just started fixing it, just banging it and pulling the thing, and then they turned it on and it worked. They did all the gears, they gave me the thumbs up, and it's like, it's ready to go. And I couldn't believe it. It was like these pit crew dudes just came out and fixed my thing, and I was like ready to go.
The first few days were like, it was a real learning experience. We were seriously like going way too fast. What happened with Jerry in the first crash was like an eye-opener.
The next day after my crash, we were going, and it was mellow, it wasn't raining, and we were going through these mountain passes. And I was already like exhausted from crashing the day before, and I was in a lot of pain already, and so it's like really hard to concentrate. And I slipped out again on my right side, and my face came really close to the guardrail, I guess, and I crashed again. And there's footage of it. You can't really see it that well, but yeah, you do see me disappear. After that, I didn't crash anymore.
I felt so bad that had to happen to him. Like it was bound to happen to somebody. All part of the experience, I guess. And then that same day, it was just like we're heading over the mountain passes, and we went up over High Van Pass, which separates basically the north from the south.
It's just the border for weather in this country. North and south is perfectly divided at the top of the pass. It says it stops the Chinese winds. As soon as you just come up one side, fully dressed for rain, and you come down the other, and you just take everything off. So it was nice. I'm glad we went north to south and got to end the trip in the heat.
Once we got on the other side and went down and could see, and the clouds were going away and we could see Da Nang down there and the water and the beach, and I felt like, oh, I think I need to get rid of the jacket right now, and it was just a climate change like this.
We went into the trip knowing that like we're gonna have to do some of our own repairs and like try and maintain these bikes and get them from point A to point B, like at all costs, you know, like that was the idea.
So it was pretty clear that we were gonna have problems, but at the end it's been pretty easy for most of us. But Michael have just bad luck and got the wrong motorbike.
I've got a special technique for my light now because the light is broken. Up.
I would have been on a train with what he went through on that bike.
Almost every single day, something broke on it. Some bolt, the chain.
Complete rebuild. He had his motor ripped apart, split the cases, new training. He might as well have just gotten the frame powder coated and just started from scratch again.
By the time we got to the middle of the country, we were all just like, man, that dude needs to get a new bike, man.
No more brake. The brake is gone.
And also, like, just being near his bike on the road, like going and like looking at it and just looking at the whole thing shaking, I was like, I gotta get out of here, and I just hit the gas. He was a pretty thrill-seeking rider in addition to his bike just being held together with duct tape.
Heading from Da Nang, we decided to go inland again just to avoid the one, and we headed up through the Central Highlands.
With the amount of concentration that you need, it's just like a really insane video game where every day was like a different level, you know? Some days was like the pothole level.
Today's the mountain pothole level. Yesterday was like the traffic level with buses. Then there's like chicken levels. Today's the dog and pothole level.
I've never been more afraid of like a puppy. When you see an animal like coming at you in distance, like my hand goes on the brake, my foot goes on the brake, and I'm just ready. And like the animals were crazy. The animals almost killed me like a few times.
300 Ks is nothing back home, but it's honest full days, 12-hour work here on these roads.
Drive, like, yeah, ratio driving to skating is probably like 50-1 maybe. Skate days were few and far between, but like when we did skate, it was nice.
Yeah, we're finally at the beach and it's warm and it's nice. Found this cool bank to curb that's really fun.
I love you. Make a little effort, try to be true. I'll be happy, not so blue. Wait,
So far, it's the nicest day riding we've had in a while. It's just all super windy mountain roads and awesome scenery. We got a little split up heading down this mountain, and
Past these houses on the side, and I saw these kids with like this kind of skateboards. It's like a wooden thing with wheels. Like, yeah, skateboard, but it's like handmade. They didn't even have wheels, it was just bearings. I think they were wooden tracks too. Everything was like prehistoric. So I took my skateboard and it's like, hey, I'm a skater too. Let's skate together.
man, I wish there was footage of this. Seriously, like, we got split up, so there was like no footage, but it seriously looked like they had invented the skateboard. Like, in their minds, like, it didn't look like they had never seen one before or something, and they just like, someone else does this, you know? Like, wow, you're one of us. I wish we could have hung out there longer. That's one of the drawbacks to like being on a trip like this. We're just like on this mission to get to the next city, and it's like, it's really hard to stop and spend time anywhere.
It felt like we were trying to keep the trip going for as long as we could, because once we got to Ho Chi Minh, that's the end of the line. We're not on the road anymore. We're not moving around. We're not gonna roll into some new city we've never been in. Not gonna like be lost and asking for directions. So we looked for spots, rode around a few cities, couldn't really find anything. So we just kept on moving and ended up rolling into Ho Chi Minh.
It felt really good to see the city and just to know that we're all gonna make it all together. My bike's not gonna break down, nobody's gonna bail again. Jerry didn't die on the trip.
It's funny because when we were in Hanoi, we were having dinner and Jerry said like, we're gonna be different people at the end of the trip. He said it like as a joke.
And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna come home a different person. It's kind of, that actually happened. Like, I'm gonna go home and like really appreciate everything that I have and the way it is there, because it's safe. Here it's not safe. Here it's just, you know, danger is everywhere. Like, you know, even a glass of water can like really fuck you up here.
Lord.